Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so now we're gonna be doing the verification of this VLT domain setup. On the previous video, I went over the configuration of switch 1, basically configuring the management interface, adding the VLAN 200, the virtual IP address, the virtual MAC address, etc. etc. On this video, basically I already have configured switch 2 and switch 3 following the guides on this demo on this lab demo 1. And so just to illustrate, these are some of the configurations that went on switch 2, which is basically kind of the same as switch 1. I already said that on the previous video, with only a few differences on IP addressing that has to be done on this second device. And so very much the end, you do the VRRP group 200 and assign a virtual IP. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you go to switch 3, that is representing a server or appliance. We do also the login into that device, admin. We're gonna change the host name to OS10 switch 03, but that can be a server, for example, ESXi server with several VLANs. Create a port channel, add members to VLAN 200, for example. In this case, we're gonna do interface VLAN 200, and then we're gonna go ahead and create the port channel 10. Make sure this port channel is mode trunk and allow VLAN 200 traffic to go, no shutdown and exit. And then the interface range for this port channel is going to be 1 and 2, which are going to be these two interfaces, 1 and 2. We're talking about configuring this switch 03, 1 and 2 as a port channel, and they're going to be part of port channel 10, no shutdown and write memory. So that's basically how we set up switch 2 and 3. So now we're going to go ahead and do some verification of these links to make sure that the VLT is up and running and the port channel is up and running. So the first thing we're going to do here, it says verify the configuration port channel. You will verify port channel 10 is up in switch 1 and switch 2. Enter the following commands on switch 1 and 2. So let's start with switch 1, and this in GNS3 we're going to go ahead and use custom console. You can use the default, but I'm going to use the normal standalone version, and then I'm going to click OK. And then just to make the hit enter, and then just to make the font bigger, I'm going to go into this configuration. I'm going to go and change settings. I'm going to go into appearance, and I'm going to change this to the size of 14 for the font, so that way we can see it a little bit better. So let's go ahead and type show interface port channel 10. And right now we're seeing that port channel 10 is up, the line protocol is up. It shows some MAC addressing right there. Let me see what else is important to see here. That's basically it. It's just telling us that the port channel 10 is up. Let's see what else is over here. Yeah, the packets of kind of information that we can get once this switch is operational, like with traffic on it. Okay, so now let's check switch number 2. Let's go ahead and open a custom console. I'm gonna use the PuTTY normal, and then I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna change the size of the font so that way I can see it better. So let's go to change settings, appearance, change, size 14, apply, and let's do the same thing here. So let's do show interface port channel 10, and port channel 10 is up and the protocol is up, and that's what we want to see on this one. So now let's go ahead and go to the next instruction. It says to verify the configuration VLT in switch 1 and 2. So then let's move to switch 1 over here, and let's do show VLT1, which is that VLT domain that we created. And let's see what it says here. So right now it's showing us that the domain ID of this device is 1, right? VLT1. The unit ID is 2. The role of this switch 1 is primary, and some other information. Look at the virtual MAC address. That is the virtual MAC address that the downstream devices are going to see, right, as a single logical MAC address along with the virtual IP address, right? And so that's working. And let me see what else is here. Yeah, that's about it. So let's check the other switch. Make sure that we can see it. Show VLT1. And over here, let's compare. Okay, so I need to go here. Okay, there you go. VLT1. The unit ID is also 1. That's the VLT1. The unit ID for the device is 1 for the switch 2. The role of this other switch is secondary. It's secondary, and like, for example, let's say that the main switch is not working, then this becomes the primary. And let's see what else. Yep, that's pretty much the information we're looking for. It's up and running. It's also identifying which one is primary and which one is secondary. Let's do some VLT port channel verification. So let's check in switch 1, and let's type show VLT1 VLT port detail. And over here is showing that we have a port channel 10, and that we have these 2 interfaces, and they are both up, which is fine, right? Now let's check the other switch and type the same command. Show VLT 1 VLT port detail, and now it's showing that the status for port channel 10 is up. So that's good news. And this is the VLT port detail for the port channel 10 that is going to the so-called server or appliance, right, for the downstream device. And in this case, the switch 03. Let's see what else we have here. So it says to verify the configuration for the virtual redundancy routing protocol. It says to go to switch 1 and to do show VRP. Show VRP 200. And then once we hit show VRP 200, then we're going to be able to see the version 2. We're going to see that the primary IP address is 10.1.1.254. That's going to be the virtual IP address. And then we see that the state for this switch is the master state. And then the IP address for this master is actually 10.1.1.252. And keep in mind that this is the virtual and this is the actual IP address on this device. The second switch is going to have 10.1.1.253, and we're going to verify that. So we're going to go to this other switch right here, and then we're going to type show VRP 200. And then once we run this command, we're going to be able to see. Let's open this over here. Yeah, it shows VLAN 200 version 2. The primary IP address is 254, which is the virtual. And let's see what else we have here. Operation. Yeah, it kind of mentions that IP address already. Let me see something. So I think I type show ERP200, and this is switch 2. Okay, yeah, I was wondering why I was looking at. Okay, so this is actually the command, and this is actually showing VLAN 200. It's showing the primary IP address, and this is the IP address of the master, which is a switch 1, and that's about it. Operational is working, so that's it. Let's move on to the next one, and this will finish the lab completion. Let me see. Another thing we can do here is to do some type of testing. So let me close this window right here. So let's go ahead and select a PC, and let's do copy or duplicate. Let's duplicate 4 of them, and once we duplicate them, we're gonna distribute 2 over here and 2 down here. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna cable this PC to this so-called server or switch or appliance. Let's use the last ports. Let's use port 8. Let's go ahead and use port 9 over here. Let's go ahead on PC3 and select the last port 9. And let's go to this PC here and select port 9, for example. So right now, the way these 2 computers are set up are gonna be part of the native VLAN, in this case VLAN 1. And so let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's go ahead and turn start. Let's go ahead and start this one. Okay. And then what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go into console mode. Let's use the default. That's PC3. Let's go into this console right here. That's PC4. And for some reason this one didn't start. There you go, it's on. And turn this on, that's fine. So let's get into the console for PC1 and into the console for PC2. So let's go to console. Okay, that's perfect. So what we're gonna do here with PC1, let's go ahead and find PC1 right there. So we're gonna go ahead and put an IP address. Let's see what is the IP address for the for VLAN 200. So for VLAN 200, we have the virtual IP address of 254 at the end. I just want to verify something. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. So that's going to be IP address for this PC is going to be 10.1.1. Let's make it this 1 and subnet 24 and the default gateway, let's do 10.1.1.254. Okay, now let's go to PC number 2 and type IP address, no, IP is at 10.1.1.2 and the subnet 24, and let's type 10.1.1.254, and let's ping just for sake comparison, well, just for demonstration sake, let's ping PC1. So let's do ping 10.1.1.1, and we are able to ping it, but it's not in VLAN 200. It's just on the native VLAN. So let's go ahead and add the IP addresses for these other 2 PCs, which is going to be PC3. So let's go ahead and do IP address of 10.1.1.3, subnet mask 24. Default gateway is going to be 10.1.1.254. And then let's try to ping PC1, which is not going to work. So let's do ping. What is it? 10.1.1.1. Shouldn't work. Oh, it's working. Wait a minute. Why is this working? Oh, that's interesting. So I took this. Interesting. So PC3 is actually pinging 1. Well, let's try to ping 2. I just want to see what's going on here. Interesting. Okay, I'll see what's going on. Let's do PC4 for now. Let's do IP 10.1.1.4/24, and then 10.1.1.254. Okay. So let's ping PC1. And we're able to ping it. Okay, so I just need to check something real quick, because right now I have PC1 connected to the last port. Okay, well, the reason why, okay, yeah, I think, I don't know why I got my wires crossed, but if we think about it, basically, whenever we're sending the traffic into VLAN 200, then this switch is able to use this port channel and allow that 200 VLAN traffic out to switch 1 and to switch 2. So that's why we are able to ping it, but I don't understand why this port 9 is part of VLAN 200. So let's check something on switch 3. I just was not prepared for this one. So let's go to switch 3 and find out what this is. Good troubleshooting, right? It's a good troubleshooting scenario. So let's go ahead and open and understand why it's working, because on the previous one I had to do some extra settings. Let's go ahead and open console, and let's type show running. Okay, so now we're looking at the ports, and I'm looking at port 9 and 8, and they are in VLAN 1. Okay, I see why. Because they are all in VLAN 1, that's why they see each other. But as soon as I put one of these ports into VLAN 200, then that's not okay. So the reason why they see each other is because they're in VLAN 1. So let's prove this right or wrong. So in this case, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure that this port in switch 3, I just need to see in what port is. Okay, this is in port 8. So I'm gonna take port 8 and make it part of VLAN 200. So let's go to the switch 3. Okay, console. Okay, so let's do. All right, so that's gonna be config terminal. Then we're gonna go to interface Ethernet 1-1/1/8, and then we're gonna type. Let's see. Switch port access VLAN in this case 200. Show config. Exit. Show VLAN. And port 8 is in VLAN 200 now. Now it's in VLAN 200. So if I ping from PC2 to PC1, it shouldn't be able to see it because now it's in a different VLAN. So let's go to PC2 and ping 10.1.1.1, and it shouldn't be able to see it. It's not reachable. So now let's try to ping from PC4 to PC1, and it shouldn't work. So let's go to PC4. So let's do ping 10.1.1.1. It shouldn't work. So now let's put PC4 that port in VLAN 200. So let's go here, and this port is connected to port 9. So I need to go to switch 2 and then put port 9 in VLAN 200. So let's go to switch 2. Okay, so let's open console, and let's do configure, and let's do interface Ethernet 1-1-9. Let's double check. Yeah, it says there 9. Okay. All right, so that's good. We're getting close. This is a good exercise. It took me a little while to understand what was going on, but now I understand why we were able to ping. They were all in VLAN 1. So in this case, I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna do switch port access VLAN 200, and then let's do show config. That's something you can do in OS 10, and now it's showing you how that port setup looks like. Port 9, no shutdown, switch port access VLAN 200, flow control receive is off, and then we just exit or end, and now this port 9 is in VLAN 200. So if I ping PC1 to PC4, it should work, or vice versa. So let's ping from PC4 to PC1. So if I go here, if I do ping 10.1.1.1, it should be able to ping, and it's working. Okay, so now it's proving that this VLT domain is working. We are able to pass traffic from PC1 to PC4 because they are in the same VLAN. The ports 8 and port and switch 3 and port 9 in switch 2, they're both in VLAN 200. That's why we see each other. Now if we ping let's say PC3, shouldn't work. And that concludes the lab. And just keep in mind that the purpose of these labs is just for me to practice and share with you some of the tools that are available online. Actually, there is also a better way to do this if you have a workstation. I just bought a Dell Precision workstation, secondhand, from a reputable vendor, and I was able to load GNS3 Another software was the VMware Player. I was able to install the GNS3 VM server and many other appliances besides the Dell ones. So that way I can build a virtual lab and just practice and share with you some of the tools that can help you to understand that besides Cisco and some other vendors, the Dell OS 10 is very friendly, user friendly, it's powerful, and at a great, it has a lot of value. And with that, I'm gonna stop this video, and hope you find this video interesting.